In today's video, we're gonna talk about the top 15 best epic champions in Dragonheir Silent Gods. Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm Skratch. I'm your host today and every other day here on the channel. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you smash a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel a lot. So we are in season 2, guys, and I want to make a video on the top 15 best epic champions because we have a few new additions. So the reason why I'm saying the best epic champions in season 2 is because we will have a couple of new additions, and I feel like I do have a couple of them on the list, or at least one of them that's really good. And overall, I feel like I need to kind of like go over my old list and redo it, because I've experienced quite a few different changes in the champions performance, especially since the beta. Season 1 was completely different. I had to use quite a few different champions. I've used some champions that really grew on me because they were just very powerful. And just a quick disclaimer, guys, some of these champions, right, they will require other characters from the same elemental affinity, from the same damage architecture, in order to kind of like reach their full potential, to really shine. Tononen will be better paired with a wild hero, for example. Ice Blast heroes to be paired with Ice Blast heroes to kind of like really get their full potential. So please keep this in mind. This list is made based on my own opinion. If you guys have different sort of opinions, please let me know in the comments down below if you think that a different epic hero should be on a top 15. Now, how I mentioned, we do have quite a few new epic champions in season 2. We have 3 new damage architectures: Burn, Thunderbolt, and Ice Blast. I really feel like the only ones that really deserve a spot on the top 15 best epic champions in season 2 is one of the Ice Blast epics, because the rest are feeling a bit more underwhelming. I don't see so much utility out of them. But that being said, let's crack on with the list. The very first one that we have in the top 15, guys, is going to be Dane. Now, I've used this epic hero last season more than any other hero on my entire account. This time around, because the elemental affinity is different, so we do have Necrosis and Fire, I'm not using him just yet, but I can guarantee you that I will use him later on. This season, I was able to start with more legendary champions, and I was able to kind of like try and push for better placement, try and push for better rewards overall. So I decided to go with different sort of champions. I went with Frost and Necrosis, Lightning and Poison, and having the tanks from those elements were kind of like the main thing that really influenced my decisions on it. But Dane was on my list to build him for the Goblin. So you have an attack aura for a series of trials. With a passive, when the hero deals damage to enemies with less than 50% HP, by skills, recharges the ultimate energy by 15, which is very nice. Then you have the battle skill. AoE has a chance to land healing prohibition and a chance to inflict fear on enemies. Pretty good. Very good for the Goblin as well if you get to deal extra damage. The healing prohibition is going to be massive in the Grave of Wrath, is going to be massive on the Lightning domain. So you will actually get a lot of utility out of this champion. Then you have the ultimate AoE again, with the chance to dispel 2 buffs from enemies within range, and puts attack penalty, the smaller version. And if the target enemy is under 50% HP, he will steal all their buffs. Now, if you're going against the Ancient Battlefield, you can steal the buffs from there. If you're going against the Grave of Curse, you're gonna steal the buffs from there. If you're going against the Lightning domain, you're gonna steal the continuous heal or remove it, and put healing prohibition on the boss as well. And how I mentioned, for the Goblin, he will actually do quite a bit of damage. He will enable Sigrid, pretty nice as well. And I feel like, yeah, overall, definitely a top 15 epic champions in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as well. I'm a big simp for Dane. Probably you guys know it. I've been talking about him the entire season, last season. Now, while we are here, guys, before I'm scrolling a bit down, Horus, he is a free epic champion, okay? He's a great tank, but I feel like he's not going to make my top 15. And not because he's free or anything like that. I just don't like the fact that his decreased attack is not 100%, so you cannot count on it. But if you don't have better tanks, 100% go with him, trust in him, because he will not let you down. He will actually bring quite a bit of utility. He will do the job and tank. The next champion on my list, though, number 2 on the top 15, and I'm not ranking them, by the way, rank 15, rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, because it's impossible to do something like that, okay? And Each champion will have better synergies with a different champion. Each champion will be better in that area compared to the other champion. And it's just kind of like impossible to do something like this in Dragonheir Silent Gods. The game is very complex, and it's kind of like comparing a helicopter with a car, and be like, which one is better to go on the road? Like it just doesn't really work like that. The next one on my list is Tonelnan, wild hero, guys, and she is one of the craziest epic damage dealers in the game. Now, one thing that I haven't done yet is to compare her with the Ice Blast epic champion, and I do want to do that because, my god, I feel like they're really, really powerful, both of them, and yes, they are not synergizing well, at least not this season. They're not going to be part of the same team whatsoever, but I'm very curious to compare them in the exact same gear, giving them what they need from their allies to kind of like bring their skills to their full potential, and see which one of them will overall drop more damage. Very, very curious. I used her a lot in the Vortex last season, and she was honestly out-damaging everyone in my team. I have Casper, the legendary. I have Erich, the legendary. She was just destroying all of those legendaries. With a passive, the hero gains an extra 20% crit rate, so you only need to build this character with 80% crit rate, which is amazing. Each successful wild by allies grants 5% crit damage to the hero. This effect stacks up to 20 times. Now, she is considered herself an ally, so she can actually stack up this passive on her own. If you have wild heroes, you're gonna stack it faster. So overall is better, and yeah, getting 100% extra crit damage from the passive is actually very, very nice. You have the battle skill, wields the double blade, dealing fire damage to the target 3 times. The higher the number difference between the buffs on the hero and the target, the higher the damage. So this will actually bring in quite a bit of damage, but the ultimate gains attack up for 10 seconds on herself for 20 seconds, and deals damage 5 times to the enemy, which is wow. Like when this attack is wild as well, then you have the passive stack. She will drop in so much damage, you guys won't believe it. And she's very powerful for melting bosses. I was using her on the Green Dragon, the Emerald Dragon, on the Vortex. I was using her on the Frost Domain. I was using her in some other dungeons I cannot even remember, because I was using her in so many different places. She's very nice against melting bosses, basically. That's her speciality. Moving over to the next champion from here, guys, we actually have quite a few from the fire element. Isolde. She is a defense-based champion, she's a tank, and she actually rocks. She has a defense aura for all battles, 24%. Then you have the passive. Shields granted by this hero reduces allies' damage taken by 15%. So that will be very helpful too, guys, because you're going to have a damage reduction. You have the battle skill, which is AoE, covering a small area. But if you are positioning your characters nicely around her, you will get a defense up on all of your characters. This is the battle skill. And it's the smaller version of defense up, but it's still very helpful. The ultimate drops a shield on your team and an attack penalty on enemies, which is an AoE radius around her. So overall, pretty damn solid. 100% chance to land a decreased attack shield, small defense up, damage reduction from the passive, defense aura. Like, cheese, Isolde, take a break. How many things you're bringing? Adolphus, man, like, he was the MVP last season. Definitely one of the best support epic champions in the game. If you build him with enough enlightenment, and he's gonna shield you till you're gonna get bored of the shields, okay? So the passive, if the target already has a shield when the hero grants them a shield, additionally heals them equal to 75% of the shield granted. So if you already have a shield placed by anyone, you will actually get a healing as well. You have the battle skill, which is very helpful. Grants a shield to an ally for 10 seconds and increases their ultimate energy by 15%. This is helpful, especially on the Grave of Venom right now, because when your tank takes all the hits from the boss initially, this battle skill will come in play, shield that tank, and help him to stay alive. If not, it's going to be pretty hard to keep your tank alive, honestly. I'm using Vinyara instead, who has a very similar battle skill, but of course without the ultimate energy. This is actually even better because of the ultimate energy, making your tank to go and heal faster if you're running a Garius or a Flurbart or something, So overall, very, very nice battle skill. Then you have the ultimate, deals attack damage and enlightenment to enemies and puts a shield on all allies. How I mentioned, the more enlightenment, the bigger the shield, So he's gonna be grateful in all the content. Grave of Wrath, Vortex, Grave of Venom, even in arena. Like honestly, everywhere. That's how good he is, and that's why I really think that he deserves to be on top 15. Like there's no questions asked. Then of course Frorbart, another amazing champion. We all know it. Last season, a lot of people picked Vorash from the 99 cents chest that allowed you to pick whatever epic champion you guys wanted to, and everyone regretted for not picking Frorbart in the end because he was so important for the end game. So Frorbart, man, unbelievable. You're getting so many things from his kit. That's the main trick with him, you know. You have the passive, which gives a bit of healing, gives a bit of a cleanse to the ally with the lowest HP. Then you have the battle skill, giving you healing. Like, he's the only healer in my Vortex team at the moment, okay? The only healer in my Vortex team. And he was the same for the entire season till I brought in Adolphus, you know? But I had no other actual healer except him because he can do the job with enough defense. Then you have the ultimate, which drops attack penalty AoE. So you're getting healing, cleanse, attack penalty on one champion and tanking at the same time. That's why he is so important. So useful everywhere. Okay? You can use him wherever you guys want. The next epic champion that we have on the list from here, guys, of course, there are plenty of awesome epic champions in here. You have Atchis, who's great. Hollis, a pretty good damage dealer. You have Seafreeze. But my next one is Vikak, guys. I like Vikak a lot. He is the only epic cleanser in the game that can remove 2 debuffs, okay? I feel like the other ones cannot remove 2, but I might be mistaken. I don't think we have anyone. So, with a passive, when the hero is inflicted with a debuff, has a chance to land accuracy penalty on the enemy. The battle skill will actually put a decreased attack on the enemies. It's an AoE skill, which is very, very nice. It comes in handy so often. Like, if you're struggling on a boss, okay, because the boss is killing you too fast, because you don't have enough time to go to the ultimate to put a decreased attack, you need a champion that has a attack down on the battle skill, because this goes in 5 seconds, which can increase your chance of surviving. It can change the fight, okay? So keep that in mind. Very, very important. For me, it's very important on the purple dragon. That dragon hits so freaking hard when you're doing the dungeon for the pages, you know, for the poems. And the main recipe for me is to bring in an attack penalty on a battle skill to land the attack penalty as soon as possible. Then you have the ultimate skill, covers the entire map, dispels 2 debuffs from all allies, and heals them by 15% of their max HP. For each debuff removed, the healing increases. So overall, Vikak sounds like he's been made for the Grave of Wrath. Sounds like he's been made for the Vortex to cleanse that defense down once the boss reaches difficulty 4. Made for the world boss, made for the endgame boss as well. Overall, very, very solid, and definitely do not sleep on him. Great for the fire domain too, to cleanse the burn. Great for the Ravatrix. Definitely pretty solid. The next one that we have on the list, guys. From here we have Shelter. Now, of course, Theodore is nice. Shagrol is an amazing damage dealer too. But Shelter, he is very, very unique, okay? And he brings so much damage with the passive. He brings derivative damage, okay? And not only that he brings this derivative damage, but at the same time, he will actually really, really help his team. So right here, grants a 15% attack up to an ally, then deals derivative damage to nearby enemies every 0.8 seconds. And you have the ultimate, which covers the entire area, enhances all allies with lightning force, granting them Blessing of Thunder. Gains a chance of dealing additional lightning damage with basic attacks. Very, very nice. When launching basic attacks, all allies with Blessings of Thunder have a chance to summon a lightning strike on the enemy, and that will be derivative lightning damage. Dauntless heroes have double the chance to do it. So Shagrol, paired with him, for example, is crazy. Or if you have any of the big boy legendaries, you're really gonna get a lot of value, a lot of damage, you know. So Shelter, very unique, and he can ramp up a lot of damage. Moving over to the next one, I really, really like her, guys. Yola, Lolita. She mainly kind of like brings damage, brings decreased attack, and you do have an attack aura for all battles, which is very helpful. You will find this more helpful than you would think so. Then the passive. When attacking enemies under silence, there's a 40% chance of changing silence into stun, okay? That's the key right here. Crowd control will be so important for the Pillar of Trials, for the Feymender. For some dungeons as well, you might need these extra debuffs, or you might need this attack penalty too. Not to mention that she was one of the few attack down champions for the lightning element, okay, which is very, very important. You do have Irina, which is a rare champion, so keep that in mind as well. She strikes the enemy 3 times, which makes her great to have Witch's Remains or Crown of the Unclean to land defense down. The battle skill fires 2 lightning orbs at the enemy, each dealing damage and a chance to inflict silence. For Arena, she's massive because you're gonna get to crowd control. Overall, a big fan of the champion, and I use her so much, and I'm still using her a lot this season too. Hero Form is one of the new characters, guys. I just kind of like wanted to point him a bit out. Electrocuted. Now, it's pretty hard to stack them. It's pretty hard to bring a lot of utility out of these characters unless you really have other champions that land that for you, and then you bring them in for damage. Similar with the Frost, for example, you know. So they're a bit more dependable than the other characters when we are talking about damage. And I feel like he can be decent, but I'm not such a big fan of Thunderbolt for the moment anyway. So he's not on my list. I just wanted to kind of like point him out. He's a new one. Then we have Ihuikatal. Naguk is an interesting one as well, but Ihuikatal, I feel like she definitely deserves the spot. I was actually thinking quite a bit before. Should we go with Ihuikatal? Should we go with the Shuk? Because he's a pretty interesting one too, you know. So Ihuikatal has a defense aura for all battles, which is very nice. You have the passive. When an ally casts an ultimate skill, the hero grants them a shield. Very solid too, because you're gonna get to help your teammates when they're casting ultimate skills, and that happens every 20 seconds or less. The battle skill deals damage to an enemy, removes all the shield, and has a chance to dispel 1 buff from them. So this is nice against bosses that gain shield and you can remove it from, or different characters that might shield and you want to remove their shield. The ultimate skill grants defense up, the big version, to all allies and gives them a bit of a healing. So this is good, having the defense up, you know, and with a passive and gaining that extra shield on your team, then having the defense aura, she's a very good support character, especially for this elemental affinity. Definitely keep her in mind. Then we have Nathaniel. I'm still missing this bad boy, man, and he's so awesome. HP in all battles. The passive, when a buff expires or is dispelled from any target on the field, heals the ally with the lowest current HP by 5% of the max HP. The effect can only be triggered every 1 second. The battle skill, which is AoE, dispels 1 debuff from all allies. You're getting a cleanse and gives them recovery over time. The ultimate skill deals damage to enemies within range and grants a shield and defense up, the smaller version, to all allies for 10 seconds. For each enemy hit, the shield increases by 10%. This is actually nice when you're going against multiple enemies. And I'm really trying to get him. You know, I might actually have to snipe some summoning event towards the end of the season and keep an eye on him if I'm not getting him by then. You know, Shuk, Hagio, awesome characters as well. You have Clovis. Tamari can be interesting in some situations, but Garius, the #1 epic champion in the game for the beginning of the season this time around, just for the simple fact that he can tank better than any other tank, and that's because of his passive, is because of his aura. So yes, at the beginning of any season, Garius seems to be the GOAT. Then once you're moving to the end game, you're gonna get Furbart still being the GOAT in my opinion, because he brings more utility, but Garius is very close to him. And I feel like because one is early game, one is end game, they kind of like even out. They're both huge. They're both very important. Defense aura in all battles. The passive, when taking damage, the hero will stack defense up permanently. So he will get up to 40% increased defense on himself, and it cannot be dispelled or anything like that. The battle skill will trigger hit recovery, and he will have a chance to knock up the enemy. And you have the ultimate skill, which will give you a massive heal. Honestly, this skill together with the new legendary skill that will be kind of like the U-tier event, how it was in season 1, my god, this healing will go like through the roof, okay? Will be absolutely crazy. So I'm definitely looking forward to get that legendary champion. And yeah, Garius, wow, you know, wow. Then on my list, the next character is going to be Catherine. I used her a lot last season. I will use her a lot this season. Great for the Grave of Rot. Great for a lot of content where you're getting debuffs. Great for the Vortex, especially on difficulty 4 when you're getting debuffs. And you have the passive, when the ally's HP is fully restored, 50% of the overflowing healing from the hero is converted into a shield for 10 seconds. The battle skill will heal an ally and give that ally defense up to for 5 seconds, so the bigger version. And you have the ultimate, heals all allies. The more enlightenment, the bigger the healing, and you get the immunity on all your team, okay? And this is very, very important, especially for content like Vortex, Grave of Rot, etc., how I just mentioned before. For the flame domain, you know, it will be helpful. Moving over to the next character that we have on the list, guys, and this is a new character added to the game. And I feel like, yes, absolutely, sign me in, Gertin. This is the one that I want to compare with Tonnelan. She is doing 16 plus million damage on difficulty 3 for me, okay? So much damage. Wow, but you do need to pair her with another Ice Blast character, and I feel like another Ice Blast character that will be very, very good with her is no one else but Bladin, you know? Bladin will give her increased attack and more ice stacks. But Gertin, guys, has an attack aura in dungeon battles. You have the passive. If the hero has ice crystals after casting a battle skill, consumes 1 stack of ice crystals and casts the skill again. Upon obtaining ice crystals, the hero gains crit damage up for 5 seconds. And the ice crystals are actually enhancing the damage from the battle skill. So the battle skill strikes an enemy twice, each dealing a lot of damage, 290%. Then the hero gains crit rate bonus for 5 seconds, gaining a stack of ice crystal immediately if the skill kills an enemy. So this is great if you're trying to kill waves with the character. I'll be honest, she's amazing at melting bosses, amazing in the Vortex. She kind of sucks in Arena. She kind of sucks in the Goblin, you know, all the Ice Blasts do because they're single target champions. But for the rest of the things, melting bosses, they're wow, even in dungeons. I'm using her in the Grave of Curse. I tried her in the Ancient Battlefield. Unfortunately, there, I wasn't able to bring in another Ice Blast character to help her out. So they were underperforming a bit. But I feel like if you are having enough support and you can bring 2 of the Ice Blast characters in there, they will melt the boss as well, you know. And she was very, very solid against the Heretical Ruins. So crit rate bonus. And the Ice Crystal, guys. The carrier's battle skill will gain an additional effect. Ice Crystal stack up to 5 times. Then you have the ultimate skill. Jumps towards an enemy, dealing attack cold damage, gaining a stack of Ice Crystal on a 16 seconds cooldown, and the initial is 10 seconds. This is actually very nice. It has a good cooldown, and this really, really helps her a lot to get in more damage, you know. And there are a lot of other characters from here, guys. Rowena, she's an amazing, amazing damage dealer. I love Gerdrus a lot. I was actually really debating to put him on the list, but I was like, who am I going to knock out of here? Rava is a nice character too, and you have quite a few of them. Bladin, how I mentioned, is pretty nice. Vorash is the next one on the list though, and I feel like he's very, very solid. He heals a bit the team from the passive. The battle skill has a chance to dispel buffs from the enemy, and you have the ultimate skill which covers the entire map, hits the enemy 3 times, amazing with Witch's Remains, amazing with Crown of the Unclean, and has a chance to put buff prohibition on enemies and deals good damage at the same time. So he's kind of like supportish damage dealer, great for Arena, great for the Goblin, great for dungeons, great for a lot of content. Feymander, great for the Pillar of Trials. He's not a Vortex character though, so keep that in mind. I wouldn't really use him in the Vortex. Then we have one champion left on my list, guys. We have quite a few of them that are interesting here. Tia, she's amazing. She's very, very powerful because of the battle skill, the ultimate skill, and the passive, which will bring you a bit of damage reduction. So she's a nice one. Questa is a very good damage dealer, an amazing attack down champion. We have Karza, which is a new one. She will be part of the Pillar of Trials for Season 2, so I cannot wait to get her. Joyce deals good damage. Gladros brings in a massive, massive shield. But Zarlot is the one that is the last champion, guys. And Irma, she's pretty nice too, actually. There are too many good epic champions in the game, and it's hard to make a top 15 list, but Zarlot is the next one. Attack aura in all battles. Then you have the passive. Every 4 basic attack heals the ally with the lowest current HP by 300% attack, with a 100% chance of inflicting silence on the enemy, guys. Silence, it doesn't allow the enemy to cast battle skills, and ultimate is one of the most powerful crowd control debuff in the game together with the stun. Then you have the battle skill, recharge speed penalty, AoE on the enemies, 100% chance, helpful for bosses, helpful for arena, helpful for PvE content. Definitely very nice. Zarlot, in my opinion, is not a Vortex champion either, okay? So keep that in mind too. Then you have the ultimate, summons a prison at a designated location for 5 seconds, dealing necrotic damage to enemies within range, and with the chance to inflict fear on enemies, and heals the allies. In the meantime, each enemy hit by this skill increases the healing by 15%, guys. So this is another character that's on my list. You know, my most wanted 3 epic champions, guys. Zarlot, Nathaniel, because I'm missing that bad boy, how I mentioned before, and Rava. I really want to get these epic champions. Hopefully, I will get them in the near future. That will kind of like put me almost on filling the entire Pokédex. You know, like I'll be missing 1, 2. Yeah, so I'll be missing like 3, 4 other epic champions, which are not that important, you know, but they can be useful as well. I think I've said it many, many times, guys. Dragonheir, unlike other gacha games out there, or unlike other RPG games, they really give a lot of value to epic champions and rare champions. And I feel like this really allows you to complete the content as free to play. Okay, this is the good part. Yes, it might be hard the very first season when you start playing because you need to kind of like build up your roster, but no game will allow you to beat all the content in 3 months, you know, for how long is a season. So I'm telling you that from experience with other games too. I just kind of like wanted to point that out because there are so many amazing epic and rare champions. If you guys want to see a list for the best rares in Season 2, let me know in the comments down below. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.